Well, hello YouTube. I haven't done a video for a while in front of the camera, so I figured, what the fuck, I may as well do it. Let's see. Coke is good. Yes, I'm aware it's full of sugar, but I really can give a shit and care less, to be honest. Let me think off the top of my head. Well, all my business stuff has been going pretty well. I've pretty much rolled everything into one. I'm trying to get some YouTube videos done. I'm still having a couple of encoding issues. I think it's mainly to do with the codecs packs that I've got on my computer at the moment. But I'm running Windows 8.1, which has been running quite nicely. By the way, hasn't given me any real big issues. I did muck around with some of the features in it, new widgets, new app stuff. The new Metro interface was pretty good too. I was generally mucking around with the Metro interface. It was enjoyable. I could use it. Aside from that, I got myself two new monitors, which were basically just upgrades on the monitors that I had previously. They were just pretty much making things a bit thinner, making things a bit better profiles for each monitor. The other one was having my monitor as a TV combination, which this is quite cool actually. I mean, I've been mucking around with my Xbox on it. I got someone out alive for some reason. Got someone out alive, it seems. But that's cool. Anyway, my point is that, yeah, pretty much just mucking around with this, playing it. Mucking around with my new TV. In combination with mucking around with my new TV, thank you very much. I have been mucking around with the new monitor and everything else, setting up all my stuff. I mean, look, some of my business stuff, I built some desktop machine that I'm currently testing, so I'm working out some tests and stuff like that. I got some up and coming business in the next few weeks, just general repairs and things of that nature. What else? Pretty much just my usual stuff. I mean, I do have I do have my wonderful weekends where I get drunk with my mates online, have a bit of a chinwag, have a bit of a chat, have a bit of a game, pretty much. In combination of that, be going into charity once in a while, which Charity Computers is a good place to go. They're just doing a lot of renovations at the moment, so I'm trying to wait until they finish their renovations. Aside from that, aside from that, it's just been mostly working out my own life and just working out stuff. And I mean, things are heading in the right direction, but it's always a slow progression in most cases with me. I've been feeling pretty good. Haven't had as many people, or haven't had as many dickheads to deal with lately. I mean, you get your share of dickheads online, and I admit that. But I haven't had as many dickheads to deal with, and I don't know, I'm feeling better for it, less stressed. I'm feeling less stressed these days. I don't know, I'm trying to relax. I mean, I can see the point to sometimes getting angry in some cases with some things, but I mean, there's only an extreme situation where you need to get angry and pissed off at people, and just, you know, it's pointless getting angry with everything, because if you get angry with everything, you're going to end up angry your entire life. That's just my, yeah, just my theory on that, but I mean, it works for me. I mean, to be honest, it makes sense that if you hold on to anger and bitterness, it's just going to make you feel like crap. It's going to stress you out in a heaps. At the same time, you shouldn't feel like you can't have fun. You shouldn't feel like you shouldn't feel like you're going to be intimidated into doing something I mean, I don't know. I'm coming across a few interesting people online. I mean, you come across good people. I'm not arguing that, but you come across a few people that's just like completely want to just drive people the other way, or drive a wedge, or drive something between people because they simply want to be, well, I'm big on the sociopathic about things. Most of the people that I come across, I mean, it's not everybody that I come across, but it's just some people that I come across. They're just complete sociopaths. They just want to drive a wedge between people. They just want to cause issues. They just want to be the ultimate cause of somebody's problem. Or they just want to start shit because they can start shit. Which, to be honest, is fucking stupid. Sometimes it's okay to leave things well alone, and sometimes it's okay not to get into an argument just because you want to get into an argument, or just because you want to start an argument because you're fucking bored. Which, to be honest, is bullshit if you're going to get into fucking arguments because you're bored. In my mind, it's just fucking retarded. I'd rather just have discussions and talk to people if I was bored. Or play games, or blow shit up. Or, just generally have a conversation and rant like I do now at the moment. But the only thing that's probably pissed me off in the last few months is my freaking internet, but that's not exactly something I can fix straight away because of just the condition of my line, the fact that Telstra in their infinite wisdom is a little fucked up when it comes to what standard of the line. And I mean, it's not necessarily their fault, it's the fact that their belief is that well, not just Telstra, but other phone companies as well, their belief is that the government's going to bring in and implement the NBN a lot more. But the problem with the NBN is that it's at a standstill because we have a new government which doesn't know whether they want it, which, to be honest, it's probably a better future investment to have the NBN in place than not to have it in place. It makes sense. It just makes sense to me. It's better investment for the infrastructure and jobs in Australia. If you're trying to generate revenue and jobs in Australia, why wouldn't you put in a national broadband network? I'm sorry, but any idiot, and I'm sorry, regardless of the fact that you want to be greedy and maybe you don't want your pension to be cut or something. I don't know, because to be honest, I feel like a percentage of the time that when it comes to government officials, most of them just care about what they're getting paid to do in the end of it. And they don't care about the people, they don't actually care about who they're... Well, because technically they're working for the Australian taxpayer. At the end, I don't think they honestly really do care about the people that they try to work for. And half of it's just money. It's coming down to how much money they can have, it's coming down to how much money you can get out of the situation, how much money you can save, how much money you can get, and I don't know, it's a big leeway with money. I'm not arguing that money isn't an important factor, but there is also the other point that I think sometimes we place a little too much emphasis on wanting to have... I mean, there's like, you don't want to send yourself broke doing something. But at the same time, the government has enough money, and this is just the governments in general, have enough money to be able to do the job and still have money left over to pay everybody. So, with the ultimate point, what is it that, ultimately is causing the issue? I mean, I don't know, just general outlook of things. I mean, you can change people as much as you like, but I don't know, sorry. You can change things as much as you like, but at the end of it, when it comes to certain things like just, wanting profit, I don't know. It's either the fact that they always want profit, or they always want a time margin, or they always want a particular stringent... I can understand efficiency, but at the same time, what, you're going to sacrifice somebody's health? You're going to sacrifice somebody's health? Jesus. I apologize. You're going to sacrifice somebody's health in the long run, right? Because you want to get out a product faster, or you want to do something faster in the government, or something of that nature. To be honest, that's a little stupid that you're going to sacrifice somebody's health because of that reason. And it seems a little illogical, to be truthful. I mean, I'm far from perfect. I have my health issues. I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, most of my health issues are related to my mental state at times. Saying that, I have my totally psychotic moments too. But it doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. It doesn't mean that I have. It doesn't mean I'm a bad guy, but it also doesn't mean that, I mean, especially government. Not just government officials, but governments, general enforcement of things. It's always assumed that they're always in their right state of mind. This is not always the case. It's always the assumption that this has always been the case, that most people in that position are in the right state of mind. It's not necessarily true. There's a lot of people out there who are total opposite. They're batshit crazy, but they're still antisocial and they're still, they're still antisocial and they're still who they are. At the same time, I've looked at it from the perspective myself. I mean, this is just a personal opinion thing, but there's always going to be a certain level of corruption, but it depends on the level of corruption. I mean, whether it be in government or companies. There's always going to be somebody who wants to make a dollar, or wants to steal something from someone, or wants to hack something from someone, because it's an inevitability. You're not going to avoid it. But you can put things in place, you can make sure there's security precautions in place to, make sure things are a bit safer for people in general. At the same time, I think sometimes we do invest too much with stuff with overseas, in particular overseas, because we're investing in companies that, we give personal information to. That information shouldn't be siphoned off as much as it is. At the same time, I know what information goes out about me. I know what information I'm giving to people in a given situation. So I know exactly what I'm giving out. I know exactly what I'm not giving out. At the same time, people should always have a control system in place of being able to tell where that information is going at a given time. There is systems in place, but I don't believe that they're as efficient as we would be led to believe that they are. CIA, NSA, FBI, all these law enforcement agencies. I have nothing against law enforcement agencies wanting information on people. In the sense of terror attacks, things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with wanting to protect people. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But at the same time, you got to say that there is got to be a degree of the other side of the spectrum where that information can be used against people to blackmail people as well. Which, to be truthful, is a little fucked up. People should not feel like they're going to get blackmailed, or people should feel safe to give for some freedom of expression because they want to make a joke or they want to be sarcastic about fucking something, to be truthful. What is wrong with being sarcastic about something, and what the hell is wrong with stating your opinion or stating some facts that you believe, Or not just you believe, but, your general beliefs. You shouldn't be penalised for your beliefs either. You shouldn't be penalised for your sexuality. I'll say that again. You shouldn't be penalised for your sexuality. You should not be penalised for the fact that you feel a particular way about a political party or a particular band or something else. You should always have the right to feel how you feel. Now, at the same time, I got to say that there are some people that do want to change people's opinions about things. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to change people's opinions occasionally. But there's also people who will force people or force their decisions or their changes upon other people, which is not right in my mind. You shouldn't be forced into changing everything in your life or certain aspects of your life that make you you. Now, at the same time, there are some people who I would classify as ignorant, who don't necessarily understand the entirety of how government works, whether it be government, the belief system works. Look, politics, religion. Look, I'm all for the fact that I believe there is a balance to the universe. I don't necessarily understand everything about that balance. At the same time, I also believe that science has a lot of good answers. I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded. I always have been. I would probably classify myself as a little bit of an atheist, but at the same time, I would also classify myself as being having a little bit of a general belief in something that, whether you would call it a deity or God or otherwise, I don't know, what classification you give it. But science has a lot of good answers. Science tries to place the facts, make the points. Technology is always a good answer, and I do love technology. I love my tech. I love my tech. I love my computers. If I didn't, well, it wouldn't be me. I just wouldn't be me at all. But at the same time, there is such a thing, and I think most people will agree with me, and some of my friends on my Facebook list, and other lists that I have online from different chat services, that sometimes there is a little bit too much of an over-surveillance of a system. I mean, there is nothing wrong with surveilling someone, or, surveillance in general. But I also believe that you should have the respect to have a bit of privacy in your life. It doesn't have to be every single thing. If you've got nothing to hide, then you're not going to mind being monitored. But at the same time, you think to yourself, hold on a second, why am I being monitored when I've never done anything wrong? Or, I've never actually gone out and done half the shit that some people have done, At the same time, over-surveillance is prominent, especially in today's society. Whether it be Google or other companies monitoring people. Look, there's nothing wrong with market research, but there's a certain point when some things, especially when it gets to monitoring and surveillance, you think, that's not surveillance, that's intruding on a person's privacy in general. Now, not every company does it. Not every government does it. But there are a good amount of governments, especially the large ones, that do these things. Now, I'm not saying, and I'm not arguing, that it's a bad thing, but it can be used against people in some ways, in some situations. And that is not always good, especially if the wrong people get their hands on it. Now, that's more my concern and my argument towards having a surveillance system in place, which I know we do, and I know we have had for years. Now, I think that's the only thing that sort of makes you think, well, okay, hold on a second, how much of that surveillance system do I know about? Do I know where my information is being handled? If you knew exactly what was going on with your information, what given situation you were in, and, exactly where it's all being fed into, that'd be great. But it's not always the case. Because of the anonymity of these surveillance systems, and of course surveillance entities, agencies, you don't always know where that information is going. And I hate to say it, contrary, look, we all believe that companies and governments don't lie, but that's the biggest load of horse shit. And we all know it's true, because companies, governments, people lie. Not everybody lies blatantly. There are some people that are just pathological liars. They can't tell the truth at all. They couldn't even tell the truth. They couldn't even tell the truth if they tried. But at the same time, you've got to consider there's also the other side of the spectrum, which is people who lie constructively, actually think about what they're lying about. And you've got the other ones that just blurt out a lie, left, right, and centre. And I don't really give a fuck, and I don't really know what I said, but it sounds good anyway. But, that's the other side. You've got those different sides of the spectrum. Then you've also got people not wanting to hurt others and not wanting to get people into trouble. So people lie for that reason, to protect others. Which is not always a bad thing, because sometimes you have to lie, especially when you're dealing with somebody who's sadistic. Not just sadistic, but, psychotic in general. Totally psychotic. Somebody who just would kill you than rather not put up with you. But my point is that there are those type of people out there, and I'm under no illusions that the world is full of people that probably do have those issues, and I have never been diagnosed. I am one of those people who I know I have some slight issues. I get over them. I normally just, sleep it off or try to have some fun, try to relax, and that normally helps. But I know that I have psychological issues, not a complete rah-rah. Actually, to be honest, regardless of whether it's actually medically inclined that I do have these conditions, I have much more stable and saner head on my shoulders than some of the people I've come across over time, especially online and here and there. I look like a Boy Scout sitting next to them. You know what I mean? I honestly do. I look like a Boy Scout. Now, at the end of it, you consider all that. You take into consideration that the NSA, CIA, all these other places. I mean, at the end of it, I just think we should be cautious. Now, I don't expect everybody to be so paranoid that they can't walk out their front door or, something like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know, I've probably been paranoid like that sometimes in my own life. But I mean, I'm generally paranoid anyway, so it's not an issue for me. But you don't want people being scared of the world. And you don't want people being scared of our own government. But at the same time, the government needs to address the issues, because if they get people in the wrong sense of fear, the problem with this is that the government, if they get people into that sense of fear, what's going to end up happening is people will retaliate, people will rebel, and you'll find that if you get a whole shitload of the same people with the same crazy idea, they're all going to pan into it. And it just causes more injury. Not injury, but generally speaking, injury slash, so much to say injury or rebelling, it's going to cause panic. Not just panic, but panic in the sense of just, it may cause people to get hurt. Now, I mean, look, I know I'm aware of the terrorism acts are related to that. But at the same time, I don't know. If you address... most people, even on the average intelligence line, most people are pretty reasonable, if you give them a chance. If you give them a chance, if you talk it out with them, if you explain it to them in a language that they can understand, you'll find most people are pretty receptive. Not everybody, but most people are pretty receptive. There are those few that aren't, and they're probably going to be the ones that you're going to notice more if you give a situation in that case. But I mean, look, I digress. I've looked at the relative point of views these days, especially whether it be NSA monitoring, CIA monitoring, or whether it be the belief that there is a corrupt system. I mean, look. There's parts of the system. I mean, not every single entire part of the system is corrupt. And not everybody is corrupt. And not everybody is out to kill you, maim you, or do otherwise harm to you. But there are people out there in the world who will. They will do it. If they have to. Or not just if they have to, but if they're having a bad day, or they're just really pissed off. Now, there's there's that spectrum of it. Now, at the end of it, you just take that into consideration, and at the end of it, you have to sort of, I don't know. It's like anything. Whether you get stuff on the internet, or whether you get different theories, different combinations of things. You have to take into consideration that human beings in the government, or otherwise, or law enforcement, or otherwise, they're human like the rest of us. They're human just as much. They're probably a bit more screwed up than we are, because with some of the shit they have to deal with, just saying. Well, mostly law enforcement, army, and military, and so, people have to deal with actually killing people. they're probably a lot more screwed up than most of the average people. But you know, they are people. They are still people, and you know, they still need the respect when they're doing something like that. They need to be respected to a certain extent. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with challenging authority either. Like, you shouldn't feel like if you do challenge the authority, it's going to kill over on top of you and try and kill you. Which some people, not everybody, some people, America, certain other countries, feel this would be the case if they went against their government. The thing about it is that being able to freely speak about these things, being able to freely put your mind forward and say, well, okay, I'm expressing my opinion. I'm simply saying that, you know, not everything is clear, not everything is always black and white. There are shades of grey, there are shades of white, there are shades of yellow, you know, fucking shitloads of colours. You may as well stick the whole fucking entire rainbow in there. But at the end of it, I pretty much come to the conclusion that the system, for the better part, is working pretty well. But it's like anything, you're always going to get people who take advantage of things. You are always going to get people who try to manipulate things. You are always going to get people who will abuse things. I'm sorry, but it's a fact of life, because sometimes it's just purely down to human nature, and some humans have more of an addiction to things than others. And with addiction comes abuse. Addiction, in some ways, can feed abuse, you know? It can feed abuse a lot, and it's a bad cycle. I know it's a bad cycle if that happens, but it does. And we all know, everybody has seen it these days. Whether it be with something that, you know, whether it be with a particular drug, or alcohol, or, you know, or weed, or anything. I mean, well, maybe not necessarily weed, but, like, I mean, there's certain things. There are certain things that just fuel abuse, alright? And then there's certain type of personalities, and then there's people who get not just addicted, but they're so chronically addicted to it that they can't control their behaviour because of it. You know? At the end of it, what you're looking at is that it's always going to be there. It's going to be there because it's there. It's just human nature. You're not going to be able to avoid it, because some human beings have a stronger will than others, some don't. Some have a good sense of, you know, logical thought, some don't. Some think very sensible, some don't. And this is the thing. Without that sensible thought, you know what? Without sensible thought, there's just everything goes out the window virtually, because it just, you know, you're not making a smart decision at all. You're just looking at it from that perspective. So I don't know. Anyway, look, I'm gonna leave it there, YouTube. Anyway, my point that I was trying to make to you was, and my point I was trying to get across is that, well, I don't know, it was this is a bit of a rant combination. I think you would classify it as just me going on about general subjects that I cover in my own mind. But I mean, as I left off, I was talking about, you know, the broadband network in Australia. That's a wise investment on Australia's part. Great investment. Fucking fantastic investment. The things that we need, I mean, we need a national broadband network, because, I mean, even freaking America, Canada, and those areas there have freaking 10 meg fucking cables, you know, actual cable I'm talking about here. I mean, that's something that we do have cable in most of the city areas, but I mean, you know, just, if you do the entire country, you're going to lead future technology. You're going to be the leader of future technology if you build that infrastructure there so it's in place for the future generation. So, I mean, look, no system is perfect. But sometimes with some systems, yes, they work, but how efficiently do they work? Can they be changed for the better? To be adjusted to make things a little bit more clearer, maybe? Make things a little bit more streamlined? Maybe make things easier and less stressful for people. So, that's just my general consensus of things. And I do believe it is just... I think it's the opinion of a few people, especially the big techies, that these things can be changed. If given time they can be changed. I mean, of course it's a slow progression because everybody's still stuck in the old system. We've still got people who are, still in the old fart position where it's like, well, okay, we're just going to keep the system this way and we like it this way because it gives us advantage over others, right? But at the same time, well, that system, whether that system benefits other people is not a question. Most likely it just benefits the person that's directly in line from it. So, but no system is perfect. But you can make a system that can, say, be less stressful for people, make you feel less emotionally strained, be more sensitive to the needs of people in the long run. Because there is nothing wrong with being sensitive about things, and there is nothing wrong with being sensitive, and nothing wrong with looking at new alternatives. New alternatives will work, or can work, if given a chance. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much, YouTube. This was just like a combination video of just some of the opinions that I have on some things, towards different things and different technologies, and just generally government, people. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm the type of guy, I get along with anybody. At the same time, I get along with people, but at the other end of the spectrum, I have my moments where I get pissed off at people. I have my moments where I get legitimately angry. But, I don't know, I normally just release on playing games and using my psychotic urge to kill someone on a game. Just easier that way half the time. But, I mean, at the end of it, I look at it from the perspective, in the long term, that, just that, as long as you can get along with everybody, as long as you can have a good time, and there's nothing wrong with defending yourself, there's nothing wrong with speaking out, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to be bullied, intimidated, or forced to do something. Or for your mind to be easily changed because people think you're weak-minded, or they try to manipulate you by using things that you would know as your key points. And yeah, I hate to say that there are some people out there like that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, YouTube. More videos to come. More videos to come, obviously, because I've still got to damn well edit them, and I am doing that at the moment. I've just got to fix up some codex packs and stuff. Anyway, thank you very much, YouTube. Catch you, and stay tuned for some more videos. I've got heaps coming up, and I'm probably going to do some more little discussion videos like this, maybe. Anyway, thank you. Bye.